I was thinking about how I can, work with a way to put on the coffee packaging what the coffee's about or those kind of things. What it's about or the company, where it comes from, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, I could write it all out on the back of the bag, not physically write it, but I could write it like that. And then I started thinking about it, and I found this, there's a company, if you ever get a free minute, it's worth seeing. And I'd love to do that, but that's outside of the realm. It's a wine company called 19 Crimes. So if you just go to Google or YouTube or whatever and look up 19 Crimes VR, and it's really cool. So I did some research on that, and unfortunately that's like 30 to 50,000 for them to develop that app for that, and that's not going to work. So then I started thinking, okay, so what could I put on the bag that would be somewhat interactive? And what I came up with was QR codes. Now, I'm sure you've seen them. Maybe you don't know what that is, but let me show you. Okay, this is a QR code, okay? So I'm going to show you next what happens when, like, this is a pretend bag of coffee, it would say learn more about origin or whatever on the top, but you have to pretend it's a coffee bag. Okay, so I'll show you what happens next when you scan this code. Okay, so here's you got your bag of coffee, you got your phone, you turn on your phone, and what you'll do wherever you'd have it, if you don't have a QR scanner on your phone, they're easy to get. So all you have to do is take that, put it up against the bag, and see it says open on the website. So you hit it, and flip it too. So while you're waiting, this is just a sample type thing, but while you're waiting, you could be listening to where the coffee comes from, how it's farmed, what type of things you're going to taste when you roast it, how you might want to prepare it, all that kind of stuff. So this is just a little test. So what you're seeing now is a video of this video. Because I know Sid's looking at me kind of strange. But at this point, what I would do is tell you about the coffee, how the coffee was farmed, where it came from, its origins, how we roasted it. And we can also put up other ones that are, the best ways to brew this coffee, the amounts that work for us, which method will work which way. And that way, with this on the bag, you'd be able to, brew in your coffee, click on the QR code, boom, you're good. I would love to do one in virtual reality. You get a check. I know this has nothing to do with the coffee thing, but check out 19 Crimes Wine. They have one. So I'm just trying to find a way that we can get the information out on a bag of coffee so that people can then, easily find out where it came from, all the particulars of it, and then also be making, and I haven't decided yet whether I'll put like 2 or 3 of those, just one of them, because you could have the origins, you could have best ways to brew it, you could have about us, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot you can do with that, but I don't know if, and that's where you guys come in. Is that something that you think would be interesting to be able to see? I know you wouldn't read it every time, but if you got different coffees, it would have a different one, of course, for each one, because we would explain where it comes from. But I don't know if that's something that people would get in the habit of. I mean, QR codes have been around for quite a while. They were really popular. I used them probably 2008, maybe 9, but they never caught on. And I know eventually we'll switch to a VR type platform when they become more affordable or more user-friendly for the average person. And I know that's happening because Apple's making more in realms of augmented reality, which is sort of the same type of thing as virtual as augmented, where you put your phone up against something. And, you know, I had done videos on that before. But I think from an advertising standpoint, it's an easy way. I don't know. I know videos work wonderfully. I don't know if somebody would take the time to read a bag anymore. That's kind of why I'm leaning towards the scan it, and then you've got a video that you can listen to while the coffee's brewing or whatever type of thing. I don't know. So you have to let me know what you think about that, if that's a potentially valid method, or you don't think it's going to work, you don't know about VR codes, you don't want to take the time to do that, which is actually faster than reading it. But so let me know what you think about that. I'm just trying to figure out all of these while we have the time down here, all of those aspects of how we're going to package it, how we're going to market it, because the roasting the coffee takes, you know, X amount of time. But I can roast coffee all day long. But if I can't sell it and I can't make it a worthwhile product, then all I've got is a lot of coffee. So I'm trying to figure out all these other things. And one of the other things, and this is sort of on a different realm than that, you can let me know what your feelings are on that one. This one here, you can also let me know on, because what I've been finding is that a lot of people like coffee, given, not even an if, but they're not used to good coffee. So even down here in Eleuthera, what I do is I give people bags, and I just put the number on it. I have it in my book where I keep all my records. So then I say to them, brew it up, see how you like it, tell me what you think, blah, blah, blah. And I haven't had anybody. They were like, we even had some visitors to the island who we met on the plane. That was from a previous video. And Lynn and Gary stopped by yesterday. They're staying not far from here. And I gave them some coffee, and they wrote Sid this morning and said, oh my God, that was like wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So the dilemma I'm having with this is, how do I convince people? And this is a tough one, because how do I convince people to at least try it? If, you know, like I'm giving out these free samples. Well, I can't give out 1,000, 5,000 free samples. It's, as a starting out, it's a very costly endeavor doing that. So how do I try to convince people that, yeah, they should try it? So one of the things I've been thinking of is I'm going to make a like a sample pack. So it'll have, say, 3 different varieties with 4 ounces in each bag. So you'll have enough of each to test it fully, see if you like it, and then hopefully if you do like it, you'll you know, decide you want to buy more or whatever. That can't be free, of course, because now you've got 3 packages, 3 different roasts, etc., etc. But if at least it's, even if you don't make a ton of money on the sample pack, as long as we can cover costs and a little bit more, great, because that's the whole thing with this. I think this is a main key component, is whether it will make it or it doesn't, is that if you can't get people to try the coffee and brew it up, you're never going to make it. It's in that, like when those people were standing in the kitchen, they're just here on vacation, so they don't have a grinder. So I ground the coffee up, and just as I was even grinding it, they were like, oh my God, that smells so good. Well, you can't, you know, the internet isn't there where you can say, oh, reach in and, boy, that tastes great. or no, we're not there. Probably never will be, but you've got to get them to smell it, to taste it, to brew it, all of those things. And that's one of my big dilemmas as to how to get people involved in at least trying it, so that they can make their own decisions, of course. Some people will love it. Some people will be like, nah, I don't like it. That's fine. But if you can't get them to try it, then you're sort of sunk before you even can get started. So, okay, so let me know what you think of those two ideas. And, you know, there's still all this figuring and planning and everything else, and that's what we're doing while we're down here. Roasting, planning, figuring, websites, house building, all of that stuff that can be done. Let's try that again. Battery died. All of those things we're doing down here. We're trying to get all of this done so that when we get back to Vermont, it's just full steam ahead. Building house, construction, roasting coffee, getting suppliers.